It's not episode 167, is it? 160. Is it?
Yeah.
Why does it just say Zelda? Hey, welcome to episode 167 of Front Seat Gamer. I'm Nick. I'm here with Paul.
Hey.
And Blake.
Hey, Nick.
And special guest Josiah.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back. You haven't been on the podcast for like 5 or more years, I would guess.
I don't remember how long, but it was a while.
Yeah,
It was a while.
it was for our Stellaris special when everyone in the office was playing Stellaris for a few weeks.
Mhm.
And you're back now, and you're here to talk about another completely inscrutable game, and that is it X4? Is that what it's called?
Yes, not to be confused with
4X, which is what Stellaris is.
yeah.
There is 4X elements
But
to it, though.
Not very many, and that's not why they named it that. So
Why did
it's-
they name it that?
It is. I believe I actually haven't played the whole series or much. Well, no, this is the first game that I've played in the series. But I believe that there was a name of a ship, like some kind of expedition in the first game that they made, and it was, they just called the game X or something
Okay.
like that.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
And-
Right, so
and
this is the fourth in the X series.
So now it's
Yeah.
the sequel of that
Boy.
game times 4. Yeah.
Does that predate like SEO? Like, how do you search for that? Game X.
Well, it's
I don't know the release. I don't know the release date.
it is
there.
tough just Googling
Yeah.
X4
Yeah.
because you end up with, like, I don't know, guns or something
Yeah, it's
as
gonna
well.
think-
Like, just
or like those old booze barrels that are like, we got some X's on here because we want you to know that.
yeah. Like, you always have to Google X4 Foundations because that's the actual title of the
Oh yeah,
game.
yes, they all have.
Yeah.
They do all do have subtitles.
That's good. That makes it easier.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know what it is, give us the lowdown.
Yeah. So X4 is essentially a trying to do everything space game, which is sort of similar to, say, Freelancer or something from the old days, which is just kind of like you have a spaceship and you can fly around and try and build an empire, or just be Han Solo, or start doing space trucking because for some reason you find that fun.
It's so weird because that is what I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
Why doesn't that surprise me at all?
Yeah.
I started space trucking, and then I also bought more ships so I can get them to do space trucking, and now I just have a space trucking.
Yeah.
Like,
Blake, have you ever tried Farm Simulator? I feel like you love
Yeah,
it.
or Euro Truck Simulator.
I've never
Yeah.
tried Euro, but like
Train Simulator.
Well, I was thinking of Euro Truck Simulator not too long ago because before playing X4, I was playing a little bit of Elite Dangerous. And I was like,
Yep.
Elite Dangerous is just like the Euro Truck Simulator of
Of
space.
space, yeah, essentially, yeah. And it's interesting that I think Elite Dangerous has the best trucking feel in terms of the engine sounds and the immersion of like flying your truck around, and and like landing it on a station is really nice. But X4 goes a little bit further in the like your trucking matters, and there's like this big simulated universe that's doing 1,000 things with every like scrap of metal that you move around.
So that was it. How do you talk about this game? Because you start off basically like Elite Dangerous. You're just a guy in a little ship, and you can do a few missions. But after a while, it expands out into this whole economic space sim where you are making sure. Well, at least how I'm playing it.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe that's just the game you're playing.
At least how I'm playing it. I'm making sure that certain stations like that build ships for NPC ships
Yeah,
are
they have
supplied
apples.
are supplied with all the things they need to build ships in an ongoing war against an enemy faction.
Yeah,
Do
well,
you supply the enemy as well?
No,
Could you?
Yes,
you
you could.
You could. But there is a global enemy.
It's,
that
like
everyone is
it's
against.
very profitable
I-
to supply
I
both
like
sides of
that
a
you
war.
both jumped on that. Oh, absolutely, you could.
Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure I am actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, wait, no. When you say you're not supplying, you're trading between what is it, the Holy Order of the Pontifex and the Argon Federation, right?
Yes, who are both at war with each
They
other.
are at war with each other. Yeah.
And I'm just taking from one and giving to the other.
Now,
It's a bit one way. Okay, yeah.
It is one way because there is this global enemy, this Xenon faction that is always an enemy.
Yeah, it's trying to eat both of them.
And so I am supplying this Argon. What are they? Argon Federation or something?
Yeah, I think Federation is their
with
title.
parts from another faction that they are at war with, so that they can continue fighting this Xenon enemy.
right. I see. Now, you both were familiar with the same war, so this is a pre-scripted war. This is not an actually
Yes.
emergent war.
It is a lot of 4X games, and this is I think kind of where X4 sort of diverges from them quite
Yeah.
a lot. A lot of them are built to be very emergent,
Yeah.
and this game has emergent elements and even randomized start conditions, but nowhere near as much as like empire building from scratch
Sure.
would give you.
So it's a more handcrafted sort of scenario,
Yes.
but it sounds like it gives you the freedom to engage with that scenario how you want.
Yeah, it has a pretty definite start point and then no definite end point.
Right. Cool. So Blake, what are you selling?
What to?
Yeah. And I guess take me through the process of let's say you sit down for a session.
Yeah.
What's the session length?
Well, first off, let me just take it
pretty
back.
easy.
I'm trying
Boy.
to craft the evolution of this game, because like I really want to get across that you start very, very small. You start as one guy, and you
Adam.
Yeah, but yeah, if you want, and
Yeah.
you're really just doing missions. Like Paul had done a lot of this, right?
Yeah, I'm still just doing missions.
Yeah, so
I
you-
haven't gotten to this like build an empire shit at
so
all.
the interesting thing is that Blake's path on this game might be very similar to my path on this game, but they've built a game that is trying to accommodate a lot of different ways to play.
Yeah.
And you do not have to build an empire.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay.
You also don't have to do a mission ever if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like that's
it
what the
doesn't
Blake
even
methodology.
really encourage you finishing the first mission.
It doesn't encourage you to do anything in particular, which is terrifying.
Because
Yeah.
if you're going to talk about like the start of the game, you got to like actually talk about the start of the game, where you start and like there's I don't know. So I bought all the DLCs.
Yeah.
Because you had them, and
So
I
did
was
I,
like, I want
yeah.
to play that game.
Uh-huh.
And then like you go to start a new game, and there's like all of a sudden like 30 different options for starts. And I'm like, okay, it's a little bit overwhelming. But like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
just go sandbox, have a play around.
Yeah.
So you get into your ship, and you can't fly it because you saw that there was a start that said flight tutorial,
Uh-huh.
but you didn't take that.
Oh, yeah. No,
So,
absolutely.
so you got to like back out, and then you start a new game
Yeah.
in a flight tutorial.
Uh-huh.
Because then you just like
'Cause now
then
you wanna
know
be able to
how-
leave the
you can-
launch
you
pad.
you can like fire a thruster, which is helpful.
Yeah.
Helpful in a space sim to be able to like move your ship.
It's worth mentioning that many games have solutions for a player sitting down without knowing how to play.
Yeah.
This game does not employ any of those.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
It's I don't even feel like that tutorial was added very early on in the development or anything either.
Yeah.
I feel like they just went, oh, some people aren't going to be able to fly. Let's just make a start that's how to fly your ship.
Yeah. I wonder, it kind of feels like when you start the game, it should open up a Google browser of just commonly asked questions. It's just...
Yeah.
It does a very good job of coercing you into that flow.
Okay, yeah.
That it does guide you into googling a
Googling.
bunch of X4
Uh-huh,
things
uh-huh.
really quite quickly.
there is a lot of the first, even now I've been playing for 50 plus hours, I think, and I'm still googling just random things.
What was? Can you remember the last thing you Googled?
What was it? It was actually I don't remember.
Specific to the game, I should clarify.
I know what I googled last.
Yeah.
So I'm stuck at the moment. I've got a mission where I need to get 10 singularity somethings. I need to go buy them, and then I need to take them to this other ship to get the ship to go away.
Mm-hmm.
but my my cargo is full.
Oh.
My cargo is full of other stuff that I've picked up along the way.
Uh-huh.
So I googled X4 how to get rid of cargo.
Uh-huh.
This game makes you Google
Can
like
you-
every
Yeah,
Google you do, you just sound so stupid. But you've
the
got to do
interface
it.
for dropping your cargo, you'd think, I'm flying this ship. There must be a jettison button. But no, it's hidden pretty deep.
That is something I have wondered for a while. Of like,
The thing is,
I just dump cargo?
So
You can, yeah.
you can just dump it. I didn't want to just dump it though. Like I've got like so much.
In fact,
There's valuable stuff in there.
you can end up in an interesting situation where a pirate has spotted you, has decided that your cargo hold is very valuable, and demands that you drop your cargo, or they will shoot you with guns. If you were to try and drop your cargo at this point, you might. Yeah, you're furiously Googling would probably not be fast enough.
Hold
Yes,
up,
sir.
pirate.
Quick question. How?
Excuse me,
Can you take me
X4 how
through
to drop cargo.
Do you have a step-by-step tutorial? Over. Okay, so I don't have this game. I want to clarify that. I am kind of vaguely interested in it.
Yeah.
My big question, I think, is like, what is the selling point? Like, how do what is considering what sounds like serious usability issues?
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What is the draw for someone who, let's say, has Zelda available to them? Oh boy, that's a lot of
for me. For me, the way I ended up finding this game was I was in the mood for a space sim like Elite Dangerous.
Sure.
And I played a bit of Elite Dangerous, and I was like, really, it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of shallow.
Okay.
Because once you realize you're just kind of trucking stuff around in your one ship, and then
Yeah.
what am I doing? I guess I'm just upgrading my ship, and then so I can truck more stuff.
Yeah, and the stuff like drops out of the ether and drops into the ether as soon as you're done moving it.
Yeah. I wanted something that had more going on.
Uh-huh.
And I'd known of the X series for quite a while. Like I remember looking at X3 and thinking like, I should get into this, but it looked too complicated.
I'll wait until a lot of DLC comes out for the sequel.
Yeah. I'll wait 12 years for the sequel to come out.
Yeah.
And so I got it and then started playing it. I was like, okay, it's got a lot of the similar things to Elite Dangerous. You just go and buy, you can do missions, you can move cargo around.
Yep.
But then gradually, as I played more and more, like I'd heard that you could build stations, right? And
Yep.
you could build like a shipping empire essentially. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna that's interesting to me. And then gradually, from just doing missions here and there, I gradually started building up this shipping empire where I suddenly realized I had like a dozen ships just flying all over the place from station to station, all doing
Sure.
like trades. And I just had like money coming in constantly. And then suddenly I'm upgrading my ship and I'm able to actually fight against the...
It sounds like Space Big Ambi sounds.
It actually felt a little bit like that.
Those who Josiah looks confused. Big Ambitions was like a game that came out,
Oh, okay.
and it's about running a business. And
Oh,
you start
right.
off literally just stocking a shop,
Mhm.
and you build up to
And
having a
it
fleet of-
scales, yeah.
Yeah. And a thing I found interesting in my mind was that all these missions that I'd relied on for income and just content, I realized I hadn't actually done any of them in like days because I was now creating my own content.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, like I had my own plans of things I wanted to do in the game. And then doing the missions, which were even just the story missions, seemed like it was taking me out of the thing I actually like wanted to do.
Interesting.
And the thing I want to do was like affect the universe as a whole and have an impact on this like constant war that's happening with these Xenons.
Sure.
And that's when I started getting into like I started wondering like why this faction that's getting attacked by these Xenons aren't building any ships.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's because their shipping yards don't have the resources.
Right.
So then I started getting into like shipping resources to things and then seeing them suddenly a few hours later, a few giant ships pop up and start like attacking the Xenon, and I'm having an actual like impact in the
That's pretty
wider
cool.
That
like
is actually
universe.
really cool.
Yeah,
Because
it's a good way to describe that. I think like the short summation for like why you would play this game is probably depth of simulation,
Right. Okay.
right? Like it is a more
yeah.
simulated game than most. But Paul, yeah,
oh no, I was just gonna say that I'm still just doing random mission things for the most part. I don't even really want to do like the build a trade empire thing.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying doing like just little dogfights in my shitty little ship in the middle
Yep.
of space, and you fly around, and there's so much space. Like they've done a really good job of making the thing just feel massive.
Is there a lot of
yeah,
it's overwhelming
It's pretty
a lot of
big.
the time.
It's too big. But I guess it's because you might want to replay it from a different angle or something.
right?
Mm.
And it's probably also just however many years of DLC piled on at this point.
Yes, that's part of it for sure.
Is there a lot of like downtime? For example, if I want to, I've just done this big delivery, and I'm like, I want to go back to the main mission, and it's on a completely different planet.
Mhm.
Is there like, 15 minutes of travel? How does that work?
Usually for me there is.
Okay.
They have. It depends on where you are because they do have these space highways. So you have your travel. What's it called? Travel mode or whatever. Which
Which
I
is
guess-
just your engines go real fast.
Yeah, yeah. So there's
Okay.
your fast, your boost, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever. So there's that, but there's also like giant highways through the main section. Space highways,
Cool.
and when you go on those, you just fly super quick, and you will get
Okay.
to where you're going in like seconds.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
But
like-
if you are, if you've got to go across the whole like galaxy, I guess, it can take like a few minutes, even
That's
by
not too
going through
bad,
the
honestly.
highways.
Like,
Yeah, their downtime is like it exists, and it kind of exists for like specific economic and strategic reasons.
Yeah.
Like especially like carrying large amounts of stuff places will usually take a big slow ship or many ships doing lots of
Right.
complicated things. As well as, for instance, there's a big fight going on. Well, you can't necessarily just get a bunch of ships to that fight in time if they
Right.
weren't already nearby. But at the same time, they add a bunch of things to just like cut out downtime that you're not having fun with.
Okay.
So you can have fun like personally driving your space truck because there's a lot of driving, I guess, in the game. You can
Yeah.
like boost into your travel mode. You might swerve around asteroids more efficiently. You might
Sure.
kind of like curve into the gates, and like you could do a run of cargo faster than the AI could do it,
right. Okay.
essentially. But if you're not having fun with that, you can also research like this teleportation thing, which I'm not sure if you guys have gotten
I've
into
not.
much.
I've got access to the research option, but I've not researched it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
Right.
meant to.
Yeah. So once if you pay a little bit of resources into it, probably like once you've explored the game a small amount, you can just start teleporting between any of the ships that you own.
Oh wow.
Which means that like you might set up something that has a bit of runtime to it, but then you can immediately go and start solving another problem somewhere else, or
Right.
go do your side mission.
Start peppering your
instantly.
ships across the galaxy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You
Cool.
can also. So, I have. I think there's a setting or something where when you are in travel mode. And you want to look at your map, it knocks you out of travel mode.
Yeah,
but there's a setting that you can not have that.
Really?
Which I don't know why they have that because
Oh,
So the
that
reason
is-
the reason why is that this is a very simulation-y game, and there are ships that travel at 1.2 kilometers per second in travel mode, and there are ships that travel at 15 kilometers per second in travel mode. And some of them you don't want to not be looking at
Yeah, you don't wanna be
where
looking
you're
at your
going
map.
for.
Because I had that exact feeling where I was traveling a long distance quite often, and I couldn't do anything. I'm just sitting there looking at space go by, and I would want to like look at my map.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I look at my map, it knocks me out of travel mode, so I'm just going regular speed again.
Right.
So you use autopilot instead, because when you've got autopilot on, you can look at the maps.
Oh
and
yes,
you can
that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the like their compromise. This is like their vaguest attempt at like usability is that
Oh, boy.
if you have an autopilot going, you're free to like look at your UI.
Well, that's good.
But
Well,
that default protects you
Yeah.
from basically like flying, minutes of real-time travel out into the depths of a
I
sector far
absolutely
away from
have
everything.
overshot my location because I'm busy looking at the map, and realize like, wait a minute, where am I? And then I close my map and look, and I'm like halfway across a sector.
Isn't the point of looking at the map to know where you are?
Well, here's the thing.
No.
I'm not looking
No,
at
no, no.
myself on the map.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the dozens and dozens of ships I have flying around the galaxy.
okay.
Because some
you're
sometimes there
Oh,
was
that's
a level,
weird. One of these ships is way out of here.
What's this guy
no.
doing? What's this pilot doing? What an idiot! What's he on his
What
phone?
idiot AI? Oh no.
Because there is a level of upkeep
Yeah.
for the trade, your trade ships that you have flying around. Because
Sure.
if you trade, I guess, too well and supply an area too well, that product no
Product
longer
will
becomes
decrease.
in supply,
Sure.
and then that person can't sell their stuff where they were originally. So you have to then find somewhere else for them, and then
Yep.
like update the trade route. That way.
Right,
So
right,
usually
right.
when I'm flying from location to location, I'm looking at that and making sure that everything is.
Gotcha.
I'm doing the books.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. You're doing your management, Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really, it's reasonably deep. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot to do like a space trucking empire. But it's interesting that you can also just let the AI do it,
Yep.
and they won't do it as well, but they'll build you a couple of ships to upgrade into if you just wanted to play freelancer or whatever.
Now, I don't want to manage trade routes for hours.
That doesn't sound fascinating to you. I love it.
If I'm flying from point A to point B for, let's say, a main mission, how likely am I to just find other stuff to do along the way?
Reasonably, or at least so far.
Incredibly likely, depending on where it is. There are some reasonably calm backwaters, which I think kind of exist for people who want to just like go slowly and not have to defend themselves constantly.
Yeah.
And there are some hot spots where, for instance, where Blake's living right now has this main highway, and they put a gate to a sector of space entirely infested by self-replicating killbots right next to that highway.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty happening over
it's
there.
a rough neighborhood.
There's also like a bunch of there's like these it's only one mission I've found, but I've got to find like 30, I think, of these little stations that have like a puzzle that I've got to like solve. It's not really a puzzle. You've just got to find the right things for it to.
Right.
Yeah, it's their X4 in general. Like they have so many things. This is essentially their Korok seeds, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
but
checks out.
the level of execution falls far below Zelda.
mean,
they are,
fair.
find some buttons and push them.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, Zelda is lift a rock. So
Still hit the log.
What are the things that you're talking about? Is it those data?
Data vaults. Yeah.
See, even that is quite interesting though, because you have to. It's like a small space station.
Yeah.
They have to fly up to, park your ship, then exit from your ship in a spacesuit, and
Okay.
like.
Which feels very vulnerable.
Yeah,
It is very
float
vulnerable. I don't-
around this
I don't know
whole
if you
thing
guys have ever
looking
been
for these like
shot.
buttons to hit, and like the space suit stuff I actually like really like a lot. It just adds a little extra.
Yeah, they have a
Like-
lot of like immersion stuff like that, which didn't strictly need to be there. Isn't even done extremely well. Like walking around on a station, it exists, but they weren't able to make it like truly immersive. You get little glimmers of immersion when you're like, wow, I can like seeing space, or like standing on a station that you built or something like that can be
Like,
pretty
that's neat,
interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like, you can go into your spacesuit. You can walk around on your ship. If you're on a big ship, like a couple of your crew members will come and like stand around and talk about doing ship system stuff. They're not actually doing that, but they have voice lines and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a play for you. That I mean,
Yeah.
this is yeah.
Yeah.
But the spacesuit stuff, sorry, it also helps for me with the scale of things, because when you're flying around in your ship, you
Right.
can get this like this off, like the feeling of scale can be kind of off, like things can seem smaller than they really
right,
are.
because you're moving so quickly.
Yeah, because you're moving so quickly, and you're like a reasonably large ship. And then as soon as you exit, you're like, oh, actually, my ship is like the size of a like 3-story building, and the space station is giant. You know, it's like the size of a city. Like,
Yeah, and like my default engines push me at like 300 meters a second, and that's it, and that's like the slow mode. Whereas I'm going 5 meters per second in this little RCS suit.
How flexible is the simulator in that? Like, okay, could I get to a point where my ship or fleet is strong enough that I could, if I wanted to, blow up one of these like friendly space stations?
Oh, yes, you can definitely do that. You can blow up all the friendly space stations if you wanted to.
That's cool. How about like a planet? Can you go full Death Star?
The game doesn't actually do planets. They're like in the skybox, and there's a couple of systems that interact with them. There are planets will build a space station to trade with the rest of the space station space.
Right. Okay. So they're scenery more than anything else.
Yeah, there's scenery and backstory, and there's like a very late game terraforming thing where you can like build a planet, but planets are abstract, and all of the like space station economy and spaceborne economy is kind of like the entirety of the game's focus, which is a rare scope, limit in a game that has very few scope limits.
That's cool. Okay. That's honestly probably for the best, because
it really is. Yeah,
that's when things get really weird in space games.
Yeah, I find that like when games try to introduce planets, and either they're barren and huge and just sort of like AI generated lumpy masses.
Well, just like just about all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Elite Dangerous thing, is like they released planets that you could land on, and every single one of them was just a barren wasteland.
Yeah.
With some rocks that you can go and mine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or like the No Man's Sky problem of like trying to imagine a galaxy spanning many types of life proliferating or whatever, and ultimately they can't, like, that's too much detail for humans to make, and our procedural systems all look the same.
Yeah.
I mean, the No Man's Sky thing is it's all different, but it's all the same.
Yeah, it's all different, but it's all the same. I think one day someone will do, space exploration on a planetary scale in an interesting way, but nobody's done it yet.
Yeah,
I would agree. It's really hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I was missing anything not being able to go to the planets.
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Like, it sounds like it is strictly focused on the spacefaring. It's not. Who cares about what's happening on the ground?
Yeah. Like, we left those, right? We left the planets.
Yeah,
to be in space.
Their story kind of supports that as well, where there's like, theoretically there are people living on these planets, but in the time frame of the game, what matters is their infrastructure in space and their ability to maintain it. And if they were to lose that, they'd probably build it again in 100 years or something.
Yeah.
But it would be hard.
Huh. Okay. Well, I think I want it. How much?
Let's go through some more of the frustrations.
It's
got some.
So far, you've told me a lot of cool things.
I think Paul hasn't told enough of his story about playing this game.
Okay, so let's just go back to the start of the game. You've done the ship tutorial now.
Yeah.
You've started a new game in the ship tutorial. Then you go to the next one, which is the combat tutorial. So you start a new game in the combat tutorial.
Yep.
And you do that as well.
This is not. None of this is integrated in the actual game.
This is new games where you start to learn how to.
Yeah, I
do a specific.
I think
thing.
Your previous insight of like they realized this was really bad and they implemented in a way that they already had, which is new games, a tutorial.
That's exactly how it felt.
Okay.
So then now we're at like fourth start, right?
Yeah. Fourth new game. Yeah. So you can start a new game.
And now I know how to shoot and I know how to fly around.
Yeah.
So I pick there's 3 options for the different starts. One of them is sandbox, one of them is guided, and the other is something in between. Like it's meant to be different levels of hand holding for starting the game. So this time I think I picked the guided one.
Yeah.
Where you start as like a space pirate or something.
Okay.
And so you spawn in your ship. You've got like a little dude pop up in the corner on the comms, and he's like, go to this place.
Okay.
I don't remember why, but yeah, he was like, go to this place.
Yep.
And then you've got like a thing on the HUD pops up to indicate which direction to go. So you fly through, you go through the gate, and then it says, go to this place. This time there's no direction.
Okay.
And you're like,
This is the guided
did I
one.
like break it? Like, does the guy pop up or something? Like, so you fly around for a bit trying
Try to find the
to
guide.
find some sort of hint as to you find a gate.
Yeah.
There's other gates around, so you're like, okay, I'll go through the gate.
Uh-huh.
And the quest updates. It's like you've made progress. And it's like, go to this place. You're in sector C now. You need to go to like sector F.
Okay.
And you have no idea where sector F
You've
is.
got no idea.
And then it's like
a few
find
letters
something
down
in
by the
sector F,
sounds
and you
of
have no idea where that is.
Yep.
And then you can.
To find the gates, by the way, you pick a direction and you fly.
Okay.
Well, there is. It might be in yet another tutorial, but there is a scanner that
There
will help
is.
you find gates. I didn't learn how to use that for a while because you can
I
spot
believe
them
that. Yeah.
with your
you can eyeball
eyeballs.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're like slightly out of the field of view, and you've got to fly around for a bit before you can.
Yeah, or there's like a really bright, colorful planet, and the gate is like
Oh,
against the
yeah,
planet,
yeah.
and you're not going to see that one, especially if it's like they're kind of light blue and metallic, and so if there's like a blue gas giant,
Yeah.
behind
Right.
it,
You're
yeah,
just
nah.
not going to see it. So anyway, that's how you get to like play through 5. Because
Okay.
you abandon that one thinking that you've just like messed it up somehow.
Yep.
And first you like Google how to start X4. In which you find like a Steam post that's actually really good. There's a really good guide on the Steam community forums of someone who was just like, here's how you start playing this game. And
Was
they're
it
like,
written by a dev?
okay, so no, it wasn't. And they're like, pick the Terran Cadet start. Because if you've got this expansion that's got the Terran Cadet, it's got like the best tutorial for like how
Sure.
to actually start
Right.
the game.
Okay.
And through reading that post, I found that like, yeah, you do pretty immediately still end up in another mission where it's like just go to wherever.
Yeah.
And you do have to find your way there.
Yeah.
But
But it's not so far away.
So what are
Yeah.
the tools you have available to you to actually navigate then? If it's telling you to go to specific places and then not actually telling you how to get to those
So
places.
once you know about the tools, you have pretty powerful tools to explore and discover, and it doesn't take long to explore a sector. But the problem is that there's no like help text in this
Right.
game.
there's no onboarding like at all.
There's no
Yeah.
like, I see you're trying to find the next sector. Well, firstly, this is what a sector is.
Yeah.
If you look at your map, you'll be like, okay, this is a
it's
map
a math
of space.
tutorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the map as well. The map bit is like kind of fantastic because you're playing this futuristic sci-fi simulation, right?
Uh-huh.
Like in space, there's a whole space-spanning civilization.
Yeah.
You
Is it a cloth
you've
map?
got your map.
Uh-huh.
And all you can see is the stuff that you've found. And no matter what you do, no one will give you a map.
Okay.
It's only ever
You cannot buy a map.
you can't buy a map. You can't.
Okay.
And stuff is somewhat randomly generated, so you can't even like really look at other maps online to find out where stuff is.
They don't randomly generate connections between the main fundamentals. You could look at a map.
Okay.
But I think that the map and the connection system, because this is a setting where faster than light wormhole gates essentially connect space.
Yeah.
So the reason and like what is connected to what is not very intuitive, and it forms a topology, but you can't like guess at what it would have been without understanding that first. And because the
Right.
player doesn't understand it yet, looking at a map of X4 probably does not super help them.
Right.
Yeah, that's true too.
Interesting.
So yeah,
like, once
bit of a
you've-
new player problem.
Gone through all this, and you've like actually explored places and put satellites down. You've also got to put satellites down. You find that out way too late. Dropping random satellites everywhere is fantastic because
Okay.
that's how you get like random missions and find
Really
out
good,
about
yeah.
trade updates and things like that.
Okay.
But it's
Little
just
breadcrumbs
not
of
ever
satellites.
really explain. Once you're like 10 hours in, the game is like fantastic.
Right.
But you've really got to.
Well, it's one of those games. 30 hours in, it gets good.
It's RTFM the game basically. Oh yeah, read the bleeping manual.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay.
No, and they do have a manual. They have like they run a Confluence wiki themselves.
Yeah, there
for
was
the game.
there was an
Yeah.
encyclopedia in the game.
Half of it is in German, of course.
Oh wait, what in like online?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Oh, and
they have the
yes, and they have
encyclopedia
the-
in the game.
Yes, they
That
have.
you search for key. Like
They have an in-game wiki of sorts.
Yeah, like I've done this for when you're building ships and selecting weapons, you can right click on the weapon and go encyclopedia, and then it's got a whole like thing
which
load
is
out of it.
a really great feature. Games need either like excellent tooltips or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
especially complicated ones. So
there's also a thing that like I'm slightly annoyed how they are just like, oh, it's just in the encyclopedia for almost anything really. Like when I was building up a station, and it was like I wanted to create a supply chain of things.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to build something that makes a product, but then I don't know the resources I need to actually make that product until I look it up in the encyclopedia that says it takes these 2 resources and then outputs this one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, I figured that out, but didn't tell me to do that. It didn't just clearly say anywhere like this refinery needs these 2 items.
And
like
if you're in the station builder, you can you mouse over something, it will not tell you its inputs or outputs in a tooltip or anything helpful like that. No, you have to go to a different page.
Yeah.
Now, do you think these were conscious decisions they made to like enhance the like immersion?
No.
Or do you think it was just like oversight or I mean like
I think that they're not they're not super good at UX.
okay. Are there
general.
mods that would like sort some of these things
they
out?
They are very modding friendly, and there are definitely mods that sort some things out. I think there's even a couple of UI mods, but I don't know how moddable their UI is.
I have seen UI mods, but I haven't used them.
Yeah, I haven't used them either.
Because I don't want to make the UI more confusing if I have
Yeah,
mods.
if there was a mod that like made their UI nice,
yeah,
good,
that game
good
would
even.
be yeah.
Good UI would do a lot for the game.
There's so many confusing things about it.
There's so many things like just ordering a ship to do a trade and continually do a trade is like so many step process and not intuitive. There's games like Anno I've played where setting up trades, you figure it out within seconds while just trying to do it. In this game, it's like, okay, first you have to like you have to click on the ship. Great, cool, easy. Then you have to find a tab in this selection of tabs.
You've actually got to hit the info button first, right?
You don't have to hit the info button.
Oh, yeah, there's an
you
info
have to
button.
find the orders button, which is like one of the tabs. The info button is one of the tabs.
Oh, okay.
The orders button is another tab.
It's a sub-tab of the info button.
Oh boy!
Yeah, and then you have to select. It's by default it's on hold position, which means it just does order and then stops. You have to then change that to repeat order, and you're like, okay, great, I've done that. But then you have to hit the accept button, which is weirdly difficult to see.
Otherwise, it'll lose it.
Otherwise, it'll lose it.
Yeah.
Then you have to then it's like a little more straightforward. Then you just from your map screen, you have a trade icon that highlights all the trade options on the screen.
Sure.
And then you just look at that and go, right click on one thing and say buy this, and then right click on another thing and then say sell there, and then away you go. But I had to Google how to do all of that.
Yeah.
And I had to, not only did I have to Google it, I had to watch a YouTube video of how to do it. And multiple times pausing
to find the tab.
To find the tabs. Because the guy's just like, oh, and then you just go change from hold position to thing and press accept. And I was like, whoa, what was that? That was a completely different tab that just popped up.
Oh yeah, have you guys figured out yet that you can have your list of ships and assets and stations on the left side, and that on the right hand side of the screen there's an info button that you can open over there.
That's
so that
exactly
you can
how
split
I play the game.
Yeah.
I basically feel like I need 2 monitors. For
Yes.
this.
Yeah. But
This is starting to sound a lot like Excel.
well,
A little
it's not exactly. It's sort of so.
Excel is more user friendly for me.
Yeah, Excel
okay.
Excel makes more sense. It's kind of like this phase of the game is sort of, or this area of the game is a little bit like playing an RTS, but where an RTS knows that if you click on your gather unit and you click on the thing that they gather, knows what you want to do, and like Anno knows what you want to do
Yeah.
when you set up a trade route. It's like you've got a trade ship, you want to trade this thing. Okay, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. I'm going to pathfind there. I'm going to collect. I'm going to return, and I'm going to repeat. And all of that stuff is just like assumed, and it's very smooth. In this one, they decided that like, well, we're just going to let the player program their own units. And you can.
Yeah.
Like, they have loops, they have like
Yeah.
breaks, they've got, you can set up like weird little if else sort of like
conditions and
chains.
stuff.
There are a lot of random settings too for how a ship will behave
Yeah.
under different conditions.
But I think this is a good examination of why the standard RTS or the Anno thing is better, because you mostly don't use like the what you could do. Probably
Yeah.
the most like you could set up maybe an interesting patrol route, or for trading, the most interesting thing I've done is do a bunch of conditional trades,
Right.
which does get very like delightfully complicated. But was it worth someone not being able to go
Yeah.
mine some rocks and return? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
sounds
sure.
like they kind of engineered it around the edge cases or around
Eh.
the specialized user. and
Yeah.
at the
But
cost
yeah, I
of
think
the
it's
general user.
really targeted at being, 40, 50 hours in, and then from there.
God,
Like,
Everything up
it
to that is a
really-
tutorial.
Well, I have we could probably add on. I have some frustrations from beyond the 50-hour mark
God.
as well.
How many hours do you think you have in that?
I don't know, because I AFK games a lot.
Okay.
I'll like start playing, and then my nieces will want to rambunctious around or like use a
Sure.
computer or something. I'll tab it, and I think it would probably be close to 200 though.
Wow.
I think
Whoa.
because I haven't been playing Zelda this week, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, got a little
That's
bit
true.
more X4 progress in.
Yeah, I haven't played since Zelda.
I played a little bit this morning,
Oh yeah.
but I was trying to
You
set up a
start again?
trade. No. No, I was trying to because there's another mission where a dock's building and it needs supplies, so I was trying to set up like my first trade route.
Oh yeah. You were
How did that go?
your first swing at trucking.
I got the first delivery going there, and then another ship came in and ordered it to dump its cargo. It was a fucking pirate.
Oh, sweet. Well, so did you? Were you?
And then it messaged you and said, "Quick, how do I do this? No, I really need to know."
Yeah, the
I
captain's
did.
like,
You don't have a lot of time to respond. That ship got blown up, so I might have reloaded the save before that and then
Yeah.
not continued.
Yeah,
That's a
that
thing.
makes sense.
There are
Yes.
these global orders for your fleet
oh yeah, and
that you can control, and there's quite a lot of them, and they're all like, if this happens, what should I do? And by default, it's things like if the cops want to scan a ship or whatever, one of your ships, that ship will contact you and ask you what that you should do.
Yeah.
Or if a pirate comes along and says dump your cargo, your ship will contact you and say, what shall I do? Shall
Yeah.
I? And then dialogue options come up where it's like, flee, fight, or like comply.
Yeah.
So I was constantly getting that, and one, it's just annoying that it's constantly popping up when you've got like dozens of trade
yeah.
ships
If you
around.
are a space trucker empire, there's a lot of
And-
like dealing with questions.
And I've also found that if you are in other menus when that happens, you can just not get those options.
Yeah, I didn't see any
Yeah,
options.
and-
The ship dropped its cargo and then got blown up.
No, I think the default,
Brutal.
if you didn't change anything, and this is a little inexplicable to me. I think what a trade ship does when a pirate asks it to drop its cargo is it attacks the pirate
Oh,
with its one dinky turret or whatever.
yeah.
Yep.
It's definitely like
yeah.
the basic trade ship that you get for one of the early missions as well. It's,
Yeah, it'll have like maybe one gun.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Captain's got like one eye,
they go. Yeah.
one working
As
arm.
many eyes as he has guns.
Well, that captain sounds like maybe he could do something with his one gun, but
Yeah. And that guy was one of those four-eyed guys as well, so he's really lost a lot of eyes.
yeah, I think I'm not sure why. I noticed that I had to change the setting because by default if you have a run-in with a pirate, I'm not even sure if they contact you by default, but they definitely attack.
Mm.
And
I
that's
heard the
way
audio
less
message.
good than run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that as well. Like you hear the audio message and then you go out of your menu and there's nothing.
Yeah.
And then you get a thing saying your ship was destroyed.
Yeah.
So you can in the global commands.
Yeah, I played
say,
around with some of those.
Yeah.
I just need to like change some more of them. So you don't what I was going to do was just give it an escort. Because I've got some
not
ships
done
that aren't
that.
doing anything. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can do like a fleet and just
Yeah,
have an
you can.
escort run.
Is
with
it going through such dangerous space?
I think so.
Okay.
Pirates also like
Yeah,
there's
pirates are
just,
quite
there's
common.
just piratey space, and pirates. You're not super likely on any
Yeah.
given run to encounter pirates, but if you have 18 runs going constantly, you'll be
Yeah.
encountering pirates every 5 minutes.
I think I'm
Also,
such
your
a
first one apparently.
Or yeah.
yeah, or the very first one.
I
think it
wonder
might
if there's a
actually-
script to make sure that happens or
But
something.
here's
It
the
feels
thing.
like the sort of thing you don't want to happen on the first run, though. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the
I
player's
learned
trying to
that-
trade. Hey, let's blow it up.
There's
This will
some
be really fun.
there's some inexplicable introductory balance design in this game, or design balance. There's have you met the pyramidal aliens? You might not have.
No, I don't think so.
But I think Blake
I have.
will have. So there's these aliens. There's two types of small universally hostile ships, and they're both space jerks. Some of them get real big.
Oh.
Some of them don't get real big, and they're just like little purple pyramids.
Yeah, okay, I have,
And-
but only recently.
Yeah, okay. So if you're flying around in a small ship, you can dodge almost every, weapon projectile in this game. But one of the common low-level missions and a common low-level enemy are these little swarmer guys that have hit scan beam weapons.
Okay.
And they are incredibly dangerous to new players and new
Yeah.
ships. But they are also the thing that you're commonly asked to deal with as a new player in a
Wow.
new ship.
Okay.
When I was a new player, I basically avoided all combat until I got a what is it? A corvette or a gunship.
yeah, like
until
a
I got
pretty
a
big
gunship.
ship. Yeah, you can do that. But as somebody who kind of likes flying fighters, I definitely dove right in and was like, okay, give me a job to do in this fighter. And they were like, protect this miner from these Kaak aliens. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I was like, I cannot fight these. I get in range of these guys,
Yeah.
and I'm like dying instantly. And it turns out that's just what those guys are like. You just want bigger ships to fight them,
Yep.
and you shouldn't try in your
I
small
don't-
ship.
Yep. I just didn't try fighting at all on my little ship. Like
I did lots. I still do lots of fighting.
Yeah.
The space combat is really fun.
Yeah,
Like,
the flying simulation is cool actually, and trying to beat things, gives you a reason to upgrade your ship and everything.
yeah, like I did get a decent enough fighter where I could take on one or two other fighters.
Yeah,
but ultimately, once I got my first gunship, I was like, "This is me." Just a big building that has like
Turrets
6
on it.
guns on it, and I'm
So-
like, "That's great."
So we've covered. It sounds like there's obviously like economic progression. You
Mm-hmm.
can buy bigger and better ships. You can trade. There's use
Yeah.
a building of wealth. It sounds like there's also some sort of research element, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What-
the research.
Yes, actually.
Here's another thing. The research is locked behind story progression.
Okay. So you may never see it. If
You might
decide to
you
just
might
bail
never
on
see
your
it. Yeah,
mission.
because Josiah
Yeah.
for ages was talking about like research, and
Yeah.
that there's a tab with research, and I'm like, I'm not seeing this. I don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Blake is like a surprisingly localized. Like Blake's gone a pretty long way in the game, and is really just like focused on this
One
small, dense sector of the galaxy.
Right.
Or the network.
Yeah, because there's also you started off in one of the latest expansion area,
Yeah,
which I haven't even visited yet.
the whole reason I bought the game is because there's these cool like space cuttlefish that are an alien species, and you can start with the quest to like reconnect them to the network, and then you do, and it's like I think that's actually it was the perfect way for me to start the game because I wanted to do space trucking essentially.
Yep.
And they need space trucking. They have like a cuttlefish humanitarian crisis that you have to resolve with trucks.
And a dock that they really want you to build.
Yes, and a dock that they really want you to build, and all sort. Yeah, but but yeah, that like is this isolated region, and you kind of get that under control, and then you start being like, oh no, I gotta import things. So you start going all over the network looking for stuff, and you run into all sorts of things. But you could also just build a little kingdom in one sort of like the place that Blake is playing is very interconnected and self-sufficient in a smaller region,
Right.
and you don't have to go and find the various other plots.
Yeah, it's got like a giant highway going through it.
Yeah, but you did eventually find the I guess the complexity of that area is like really high as well. You don't feel like you've explored that small area much.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the core of the game.
I did go out and start exploring more sections, and I found the criminal faction who have outlawed food
Or water.
and
yeah.
water.
Yeah, they've got a lock on water.
It's illegal to have food rations in their territory.
Yeah.
Well, no, so factions outlaw things much, in a kind of like the way that you would expect. They outlaw space weed, and apparently it's prohibition because you can't ship alcohol or something.
Really?
Yeah,
Crazy.
Space fuel is just booze, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah, but
there's a drink
yeah,
called rocket fuel.
yeah. So they so they've got these bans, and their police ships will like check your ships, and if you have some, you'll lose some reputation, and
Yep.
you'll have to treat the police ships like a pirate ship essentially. Do you drop your cargo, or do you fight, or do you run, or but there's a faction in the game that is essentially using these rules to be a racketeering syndicate.
Right.
And so they're like,
That's
there
cool.
are lots of ice asteroids in our space.
Uh-huh.
It is illegal to have ice in your cargo hold or water because our ships are going to, like all of the ships who come in here to try and get ice or water are going to be asked to give those over to our ships
Yeah.
because
So-
we're squatting here.
I'm pretty sure you can also, once you have a station, set your own contraband rules, right?
Yeah, once you control a sector.
How do you control a sector?
I feel like I just got that from a quest. I swear I could.
You do get a station from a
Oh,
quest.
hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this sector's yours now. We've got a lot of problems, but I think you'll work it out. Okay, I gotta go. Bye.
There
Or
actually
maybe I don't.
There's
I don't know.
there's a quest that is like 100% like that. I don't think. So the way you start on this like research quest is different.
Yeah.
The way I started on it is that this big station appears, and I guess actually
It's
it
the
goes
same.
kind
It is
of
the same. It's
way.
just a different
in a
story
different
around
place.
it, but the result is the same.
Where this person does dump a station on you. If you have an administration module on your station, you are vying for control of a sector. So they
Nothing
may
tells
have
you
had
that.
you do
Nothing
that.
says that.
It's pretty obvious. If
there's
you've got an
literally nothing.
administration module on your station and you're
There's
vying control of this for the sector.
There's also like,
Yeah.
as I'm describing this real question of do I own the sector or not, I have no idea, right?
I think I had that.
I don't think it would tell me if I did or didn't.
It goes green on the map instead of blue.
So
or
it's definitely
gray.
green.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
do
So you own a sector.
I don't own a sector.
Yeah, I own some sectors much later in the game, but
Well, that's because
I didn't
you
for
waged
ages.
a giant war against Xenon and actually took
yeah,
over some of
I
their
took
sectors,
over the robot
Yeah.
space.
which is
It's-
impressive.
It's pretty weird in there.
yeah.
Yeah, but actually, like, even that is really interesting in that opening like that up suddenly made this trade lane between two factions really safe, and there's tons of traffic, and so like
wow.
people like
Well,
land on my trade station all the time because
Yeah.
I
Nice.
made this like weird lane.
See, this is why I get sidetracked from the main story, because I've got all these shipping things going around, and these Xenon are interrupting my shipping lanes, and I'm like, the only way to get rid of them is to basically like invade their space and knock them out completely.
Well, or build a like a defensive bulwark.
I
or
guess
something.
I could just build a loaded defense station, but those are expensive.
So, what are there any other progression elements? Like, do you have like experience?
There's
Is there
faction
loot?
rep.
Like,
There's-
if you're blowing up ships in combat, are you looting
Yep.
them?
Yeah,
ships
you can-
drop ship specific loot, but
That's cool.
they can also drop their cargo holds, which is economically important.
Right.
There's
But then
there's
you can't
piracy.
figure out how to sell it.
Yeah,
Is where I'm at currently.
Yeah,
My
yeah, yeah.
entire cargo is filled with stuff.
Oh, this
man.
one's filled with water. I'm sure this will be fine.
yeah.
Did you?
Hello, officer. I have this entirely legal cargo hold.
What do you got in there? Oh, just water. Aha. Okay.
Did you figure out about the cargo magnet?
Yes.
It took me so long.
Yeah, I didn't know
find
about
out
that.
about the cargo
I think
magnet.
I think I saw a
Through
post on the
Googling or
internet that was
something.
like, "Boy, I hope you're not flying through all those crates." I was like,
I'm playing with the controller, and one of the joystick down buttons is the magnet. And I remember flying around and just being like hitting it and hearing this like woo, and I was like, "What the hell is that? I don't know what the hell that
It's
is."
a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, and then I'm like, because
is,
there's no
yeah.
cargo around or
Cargo
anything.
vacuum.
And then at some point, I did it near cargo, and it just went, and it all like sucked towards me. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's a cargo magnet!"
So you play on controller.
Yeah.
Do you guys play on controller?
Both controller and keyboard.
Oh wow.
So for
Oh
the-
yeah,
I
actually,
fly
I play
around
on keyboard
controller.
as well. yeah. Controller and keyboard. Yeah.
because they don't. I've played like Rebel Galaxy recently, and they actually have good controller support where their menus work on the controllers. But I think in X4, no, right? So you need a keyboard.
You can navigate, but not well.
Not okay. Yeah. Because
Especially
that
when you're
UI is
clicking on things and like
insane.
having to set up and right clicking on stuff like.
Oh yeah,
you know-
yeah. There's context menus for everything.
Yeah, like it's just easier. I usually just put the controller down and use the mouse at that point.
Right.
Now, I know that you bought a VR headset when you got Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
Does it support VR?
Oh no, it doesn't. Actually, it's good you mentioned that because I went through a whole process
trying to get it
trying to get it
run VR.
to use VR because I saw a post on Steam of someone who had set it up and was like just saying how amazing it is, and they're like, "Oh my god, the scale is incredible! Like you really feel immersed in it." And I was like, "Oh, cool!" And I went through all these steps.
Yeah, it turns out he was just duct taping his monitor to.
Essentially, but in VR.
Ah,
So all it was that I had to
Oh,
download
I know
like
what you mean.
I had to download like other third-party things to
Yeah.
get this thing to work. And like all it was that like when you go into VR, it's just a giant monitor in front of you, and you can wrap that monitor
Right.
around,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
it fills your
yeah.
whole
Yeah.
like view.
But it doesn't react to you
It's
turning your
not-
head, for example.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, like I had to download a whole like head
control.
tracking
Yeah.
Yeah.
for that. Well, it does, but like it's not like actual
yeah.
proper
So
VR.
the
Right.
game is not built to.
No,
To,
no.
yeah. Support
Which feels
VR.
like a bit of a miss, right? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like space sims are the perfect use
Yeah.
case for VR.
Yeah.
I think
can
I
see
think
that.
VR probably would be pretty cool if it was supported.
Yeah, like it has. You can turn your head in the cockpit.
Yeah, I actually use that head look a lot
Yeah.
because there's a lot of like space flying, and sometimes I need to like strafe past something,
Yeah.
but I need to keep my engines oriented a certain way, but I
Yeah.
need to like look at it.
Like it is cool,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
but
it's not there.
It's not there. Maybe X5.
Yeah. I mean, actually, yeah. This game is a lot older than popular usable VR, right?
2018, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's not that old.
I mean, 2018 VR was. I mean, VR was around, but
if anything, it was after the peak of VR.
yeah, it probably was.
The
Yeah.
peak of VR was like 2015-ish.
Yeah, but I bet like development of this game, they definitely weren't like thinking of VR because it wouldn't have been a big thing. I think.
Right. Now, you got the full game with all the DLCs.
Yep.
How much did that cost you?
I don't remember.
About $120, I think.
Okay, how many DLCs are there?
Was it a few? I think it's like
4.
4, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
There was I think I got it in a big sale, which was, I don't know how. It was
Yeah,
like half off, so
this-
it may have been like $80 or
Well,
$60 for me or something.
I got the base game first,
Yeah.
and then tried it for
Yeah.
quite a few hours, and then was like, okay, this game is cool, and now I'm going to buy all the DLC.
Right. Okay.
Whereas I looked at it, and then I clicked the expansions, and it was like, Blake owns this. And I clicked the next expansion, it was like, Blake owns this. And I was like, okay. I want to
Got
play
it.
what he's been
Well,
talking
if Blake
about.
owns it.
Yeah. Well,
The thing
it
is,
must be.
I'm $120 for a AAA title is what you pay for any PlayStation game.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's-
that's what Diablo was.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
That's
I
one
just
game.
Oh yeah.
Games.
Is,
Games.
is that out yet, or is that still
next
months?
week,
Okay.
next Friday.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Shit.
Oh whoa! I didn't realize that was so soon.
Yep.
Excited?
Yeah, a little bit.
Are you gonna stop playing X4 in favor of Diablo?
I stop playing X4 all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Stop X4 as in a usual X4 session.
There is a-
I guess
You'll just
here's-
be like,
maybe it's a
done
more
with
pointed
this.
question for Blake. Are you gonna stop playing X4 and Zelda?
That's tough. 3 big games at once. I think 3 is too many. I can't take that much.
So which one loses out?
It's probably X4, but X4 feels more like a game that I will like continually play.
Yeah, it's
like,
something you can return to.
Yeah, I can always return
bits
to.
and pieces.
It does. There is a feeling of work to it,
Oh yeah,
especially with the way I'm playing. Like,
honestly, Blake, no surprise there. given how you play every game.
like the other day, I was like realizing that my shipping had become less profitable. Because
I'm gonna have to make some firings.
Because all I've been doing.
Oh no, their poor families
can't afford to pay these people. Wait, I don't pay these people.
Well, at least that's one thing. You don't have an ongoing payroll.
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
pay
You do have
once.
many employees, and you pay them a one-time fee. Labor is quite abstracted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems ethically questionable.
They
Especially 'cause
they're
the first
simulated
Dirty
little
Player-
guys.
500 credits or something, and
Yeah.
everything's in the hundreds of thousands of credits, and you can just buy a dude for $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yep, I'll join."
What you're
lifetime.
describing is slavery. Oh, jeez.
They do have
Yeah.
a weird thing of when you're on the small ships. So if you've got a pilot on one of your ships, right, you can just like tell them to get out of the seat and take over.
Yeah.
And on the big ships, that's fine because they just go through a door and you assume they're in other quarters, right?
Yep.
But on the small fighters, they go
It's just out into the vacuum of space.
They go into. I mean, they almost are because they go into the same place that you do when you exit your ship in your spacesuit.
Yeah,
And it basically is like a small thing that's like the size of a
Like
shower.
an airlock.
a telephone booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the door closes and then opens again and they're gone. And I've like walked out. I've walked around the
He's
ship.
holding onto the side.
Yeah, I've like in a dock when I'm docked. I've walked around the ship to be like, where could this guy have gone? Because I just don't see any space where he could possibly be hanging out.
Yeah, in
That is-
some of the ships it makes sense, and then in others it's like, why does this fighter actually have 3 crew? There's not.
Yeah.
There's no seats. There's no other compartments.
Yeah.
And you'll get like those maintenance missions to get a pilot.
Oh yeah.
And the game will like convince you that you should get a pilot for this
Yeah,
ship, which
yeah.
does
Yeah.
actually kind of come in handy.
Actually,
like,
yeah,
now
the
that you
pilot,
mention
yeah,
it.
because you can communicate with them at any distance. If you want to play a little bit more iron mode or whatever, where you try and continue at all costs instead of like loading from save, which I expect is most of what people would do for X4. But if you want to have the experience of getting spaced by a fight and then needing to have somebody come and pick you up, having a pilot or two and like a little runner craft is really useful.
Yeah.
I actually kind of wish they've got a lot of different systems, but I think they don't have any way for you to ask the AI that's around, like a friendly faction or something, to come pick you up from space.
Right.
No
Uber.
When they have
Yeah.
that, like I way prefer Elite's Dangerous system of like you just pay a percentage, like you basically pay insurance and you get your ship back.
Yeah, but it's so immersive to be blown up in the middle of an enormous dogfight with a carrier and 120 fighters that you brought to this area or whatever, and your fighter gets blown up and you ask one of the other fighters to maneuver close by, and and like while bullets are flying you try and get into the
It is cool,
Yeah.
but at the beginning of the game when you have one ship and you lose in a dogfight with some Xenon and then you're just floating in
it's game
space,
over essentially.
That's
yeah.
it. You're just floating until you run out of oxygen.
Yeah,
You could wait.
For what?
Full space sim.
yeah,
You can wait. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I suppose it's very similar.
I'm 14 hours into this and I'm not having a good time. Oh yeah, what are you doing? Just floating. My oxygen's pretty low at this point, actually. Is there multiplayer?
I don't know. Is
No,
I don't
no,
think
it's very like single player architecture. It's because it's simulating a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. I kind of assumed as much. I
Yeah.
was just curious.
Actually, from Stellaris, you may recall there's like synchronization across like tons and tons of little actors making choices is quite tricky.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Honestly, this game sounds like I would probably have fun 30 hours in. Was that about right?
Yeah.
If you're okay with just being mad at it for a while, You can have fun a lot sooner.
Okay.
You just got to embrace the
Yeah.
like sheer madness that is the start of that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the learning curve is bad for
It-
sure.
Really evolves to me when you're playing.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
like how I started for the first 10 hours is
Yeah.
not how I'm playing the game
It's like
at all
Mountain
now.
Blade, right?
Yeah, actually, Mountain Blade is a good.
It scales
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Yes, actually, and Mountain Blade's like points of friction as well, where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have enough agency at the moment. Is kind of the trade-off with like all that simulation,
Yeah.
right? Where you just kind of need it to be that way if you're going to really simulate everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You
Doesn't
don't
give it
have
to you.
friendly abstractions for the
Yeah.
player because those would kind of be exploitable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll probably pick it up when I'm done with Zelda in like 4 years.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll have added some more tutorials as new game starts that'll solve some of the problems.
You pick up the game and it'll be like 8 new games before you get to the
what
game.
to do when you're floating in space? I used to start off floating in space.
I think it's funny, Paul, that like, so this game just when you load up is overwhelming, but before you've even launched into the actual playing of the game, just on the menu,
Yeah.
it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Before you load it up and go new game. Oh god, I'm overwhelmed.
But like
Oh,
the
no,
kind,
no,
of, the
no,
kind
I-
of
that's
player
too
I
much.
am, though, right? I'm like, sandbox, new game, let's go. You know, like I've made the decision. I haven't really thought about
No
it.
tutorial,
I'm just
let's
like,
go
let's go.
straight in.
Okay, I'm
Smart,
gonna
I
ship-
could do this. Oh no.
I've played games before. How bad can it? How do I go forward though?
Okay. I'm
Wait,
on the ship.
I'm in a chair and I want to get out of the chair. How do I do that?
All right. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming in, Josiah. What's the next inscrutable game you're gonna tell us about?
Oh boy, I don't know. It's hard to predict.
All
Have you
right.
played Victoria 3?
No, I haven't played Victoria 3 actually.
I'm interested in that game.
Yeah, that will be pretty
People say
inscrutable.
it's more complicated than Crusader Kings.
Yeah. It's actually it's kind of a weird mix between Stellaris' pop system was from Victoria 2, so
Oh,
yeah, so it's like that, but on Earth and in a contemporary economy.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you've got questions about inscrutable games, you can email frenzyquestions@gmail.com. Just subject line should be Blake Y. We'll be back. Thanks again for coming in. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye. You have to recognize that monster parts are your weapons.
Yeah.
And so when you defeat a monster, although you don't have the weapon, you have the components of the weapon. So, like, even if you defeat like a stone talus, it doesn't.
Those.
Those are the giant golem things that hurl boulders at you.
I haven't actually fought any of those.
Okay.
I don't think.
Have you fought anything with like a health bar that like comes up?
Yep.
Special music, like a Hinox.
Cube thing, series of
Oh,
cubes
yep.
all jammed together.
Yep. The flux construct.
Yeah, so those ones I don't mind. Like I don't mind the combat with like the big things.
Yeah.
It's the
moblins,
you run into like
hoblins.
and what you get out of those like might be an arm, and I don't have enough inventory space to pick up another arm.
But you can fuse them to your weapons.
Yeah, but the weapons that I have, I've fused higher tier things to.
Sure. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just try and avoid combat because I want to save the good weapons for the combat that
Or
matters. the
do you
big
have enough
bosses.
space to have a garbage sword for garbage monsters?
Not really. I only
Yeah.
just found the inventory upgrade thing.
Yeah. I see the reasoning, and I your complaint is not uncommon.
Yeah,
But-
I just think it's like personally not so for me. It's the things that I got frustrated with Breath of the Wild, and I've sort of doubled down on that, but then made the stuff that I liked way more fun. So it's the bits that I enjoy are further between, and I enjoy them more.
I definitely have to. There's a mental shift for me where I have to accept that my good weapons are going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
But like I'm constantly coming across weapons that are pretty good, and then they're not as good as the ones I'm carrying because they're not fused with anything, and so I drop them or whatever. So I'm like actually flooded with weapons, and I have so many monster parts. The truth is, I could make as many weapons as I want.
Yes.
It's just
But how many like Captain Three Horn or whatever do you have?
quite a few now. Like
Okay.
the more you play, the higher tier the monsters get, and I think in fact the more combat you engage with, the harder the enemies get. So you end up getting more and better materials the more you engage with the system.
Yeah.
It's a hidden mechanic, but
You might have to. I don't know. I went to a place very early on.
Yeah.
Where I started getting quite a few of those.
Yeah.
Didn't have any inventory upgrades at the time. Had like this massive power increase.
Yeah.
Had like a bunch of like, I think I had like a spear that was doing 50 or 60 damage or something.
Well,
and I've been without that since.
Right.
The way I play is that maybe this is probably similar to how you play. Is that you have an arsenal, right, of specialized weapons for certain things. So you've got like your ore breaker, or your rock smasher or whatever, that weapon. Then you've got your like day-to-day weapon, which is like fairly good, but not your highest damage thing. You know, so and then you might have like in the elemental thing. That's one that I've got as well. So and then depending on the encounter, you decide which tier of weapon you want to use. You know, like oh, this is a big boss. I'm gonna pull out my best weapon.
High
but
damage.
but if it's like just a group of little guys, like maybe just like one bomb arrow will do the whole trick. You know,
You do get a lot of bomb arrows.
I've run out.
Oh, really?
They're all in the underground.
Yeah.
And so I need to go back into the underground and just
In caves.
Oh yeah, in caves. Yeah. I've got so many arrows though.
Oh yeah.
I've got like almost 200 arrows now.
What the fuck?
Yeah, if they all live in crates, and I made this discovery. I think there's a reason for that. Almost every item in the world will just sort of drop from a thing.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense, like a source. But you can't really have arrows just lying on the ground because they're too small to be noticeable.
Yeah, that's true.
And so the solution is to put them in something really big.
The biggest thing, and you get like 3 arrows out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the crate is the size of this room.
But then you understand that crates are where you get arrows.
Yeah.
And then it's just
it was just like every like I was scrounging for arrows for a long time, and then basically going through the Rito village stuff.
Oh yeah.
I ended up just like every time I had a chance to get arrows, I just got arrows.
Like from the store?
From stores, or just like
Yeah,
out in the, or also just out in the
every
wild
arrow
in
I see.
crates. Like any chance to get arrows, I'm just like
They're
getting
actually
arrows.
super generous with arrows.
Yeah.
They're super generous with virtually everything in the game, but it is a mental switch about the weapons because
I get it. Yeah.
There's a cost to using them, yes.
Yeah.
But they always give you that. They resupply you so often. It's just you have to make that.
Early on, when I had really bad weapons, and it was just like they seemed to break after every like second monster.
Yeah.
It did get, and I did kind of start feeling like, oh man, I'm just going to avoid encounters, especially because like I didn't have that many weapons anyway. And so if one breaks, it's like, well, that's half my arsenal disappeared. Like, but now I'm not worried about it.
There is an example of a monster solving a Korok puzzle in Tears of the Kingdom, where like a player stood on one of the like areas where it'll make the balloons appear. You know, you have to shoot it's like a little pinwheel or whatever. So the player was standing there, and an Aracuda dove through the balloons.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
And they got the Korok seed.
Wow.
Yeah, which it delivers to the player, obviously.
Yep.
For like you made this happen. I assume.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Have you done any other temples? I've done 2 temples so far.
No, I've just done that one.
It's amazing that I've probably played 40 or more hours at least, would be my guess. And I'm only on 2 temples.
There's so much. There's like I've been going around just doing the Breath of the Wild thing.
Yeah.
And the sky stuff I get is like when you go into when you shoot up to the tower, there's almost always some stuff to do around there. But the underground I have visited like twice, and I haven't been back. And I'm just like, there's a whole half of the game down there.
It's literally the size of the overworld.
I found maps that are like,
treasure.
a treasure
Oh,
map,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the X is like so far away from
Yeah.
where I've explored before.
Yeah, it's so good. It's literally. I found out it's the. Did I already talk about this? It's the inversion of the overworld.
Oh wow! So it is interesting time savings for them, but also really creepy and cool.
Yeah, but like it means
Yeah.
that when you're at the top of a mountain, if there's a shrine there, when
Yeah.
you go down, you're at the bottom of a pit,
Yeah.
Oh,
and so
that's,
you have
that's
to climb
cool.
to get out of it. Or
Yeah.
So it's literally like a disc world that,
Yeah.
that you're on two sides.
Wow.
but the really clever
Yeah.
thing is you don't know it because it's pitch black when you go down there,
Oh yeah.
and the only way to explore is like by throwing these things that produce light,
Okay, yeah.
and you sort of slowly illuminate the area, and you discover things like it's all masked, so you don't understand that that's the case until you've explored enough to be like, hang on.
And they don't have
Hang on, there's a pit
regions
here where I'm not used
Yeah.
to be. Yeah.
They don't have regions the same way, right? Like, because you have the
They
big
do.
plants that you light, but it's not like it
Oh, I see what you're saying.
you know, it
Yeah.
it illuminates an area, but it's not like now you can see this whole region. It's
When-
just like,
When you illuminate multiple connected areas,
Mm.
it fills in those gaps.
oh, okay, cool.
So as the further you explore, the more illuminated
Yeah,
it gets.
yeah.
But you can't reach most of those light routes without like going through the darkness.
Yeah. It's great. I really liked how so I got auto build, I think, fairly early on.
Uh-huh.
Like the first time I went down
Yeah,
in the chasm, I ended up following the statues and
Yep.
stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's neat, that's cool. And then didn't go back for ages. And then after that first temple, I went back to Lookout Landing, and they were like, oh, we pieced together this mural, and it says if you follow these statues, you'll like
Yeah.
get up to a thing. And I was like, wait, what? I've already done that. But then the game was just like, the character was like, oh, you already done that? Oh my god, here's a load of quest rewards.
Yep. They support pre-completion very
Yeah.
well. In fact, the dialogue is really. I mean, I could talk about this all day, but like they will acknowledge the time of day during a quest dialogue.
Oh yeah.
They'll be like,
Oh.
yeah, I was rebuilding a village, and they're like, it's weird that they're out this late, but it must mean you want to help me out with rebuilding.
That's great. That's good.
Whoa.
Or it's raining out, but there's hard work to be done.
Mm.
There was one. It was a challenge. I had to like fly a plane into a target basically,
Yeah.
and it was raining at the time when they were giving the instructions. They said it might be hard to make out the target because it's raining right now, but like they
Wow.
put
Yeah,
that in
yeah.
there, and it wasn't like it was dynamic rain. It wasn't
Yeah.
like scripted
Oh
rain
yeah.
or anything.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
It's just it's really thorough.
Yeah.
There's no other word to describe.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I like. This is a simple thing, I'm sure, but like just seeing a character that might be like walking along the road, and then
Yeah.
it starts to rain, and then they freak out and like try to find shelter.
Yeah.
That's just cool.
You know what's really cool is you have these like wands that you can like hurl elemental.
Yeah.
If the different elements you hurl at them, everybody has a different response.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And here's something really crazy. And I want you to test this out. And if you play Zelda more, I want you to test this out as well. You know the Koroks where you have to find the partner?
Yep. The backpack ones.
Yeah. I have never found the tent first.
I've never found the tent first. I think it's like dynamic.
I
think it's always the single guy, and then when you activate it, the tent spawns somewhere else.
Now that's possible. I have another theory, which is that it's reversible.
Oh, you can bring that guy. No, I've tried that. You
No,
can't
no,
pick
no,
him
no,
up.
no, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is whichever one you find first,
Yeah.
the other one becomes the tent.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying as well. Like when they
it's
first
slightly
spawn, there's
different.
just two single guys.
Yeah.
And no matter which one you pick, the other one, the tent spawns
Yeah.
at them. Yeah, yeah.
And you're
That's-
saying that's not the case?
No, I think that is the case.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
agreeing
yeah.
with you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now, first of all, that's brilliant. But second of all, think about the fact that they would have had to essentially have designed a puzzle that is completable in both directions.
yeah, yeah,
Which is
yeah.
just
You
really,
can't just
really
be like,
impressive.
this stream or something that is only going in one direction and is impossible to go the other. You have to make sure that it can go.
Yeah.
Someone
or
can
you're
travel
going
both ways.
or down. It has to be fun and challenging both ways. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's such an interesting
Yeah.
dilemma.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's one that like Have you had any of those that you just gave up on?
Oh, heaps.
Yeah.
Do you remember Eventide Island?
Yes.
There's- Do you remember how there's like a chunk of land that sticks out towards Eventide Island? And it's like
Yes.
kind of in Breath of the Wild, it's where you
Yeah.
kind of try and glide down to
Yep.
Eventide from.
Yep.
There's a Korok standing up there, and he wants to go to Eventide
Oh
Island.
my god. Oh my god. That's so crazy.
So I haven't done
think-
that one yet.
I think some of those missions are made easier with horse and cart.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that until because I just did a mission that basically I needed a horse and cart to move some people
Oh yeah,
up to a ferry.
The ferry quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm playing with my big Ganon horse,
Uh-huh.
and he cannot have
You can have a bridle?
he can't have a bridle,
Oh.
and so like I'm basically like handicapping myself. I feel
Wow.
in some of those things because
Yeah.
there were ones where it's like I had to just get from one
A to B, yeah.
A to B, and there was plenty of land to go across, but I ended up having to go through the water
Uh-huh.
on a boat, But if I had a horse with a cart, I could just go along the land and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah, It's the one thing I don't like about that horse is that it can't have.
A different horse.
No,
You can
I
have
like that
multiple.
horse. Yeah, I've got multiple horses.
Well, then what's your complaint?
He wants the
My
big
complaint is
horse.
that I don't want to switch horses. one horse
You
that does
got
it all.
your jumbo demon horse that
Yeah.
can't carry a bridle, and it's the game is problem.
Yep.
Obviously, you need a jumbo demon cart.
Yeah, that's how it should be. The bridle just gets bigger when you put it on.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I want to
It
talk
just
about.
doesn't fit on any of the paths.
Yeah.
It's like you can attach one, it just can't go anywhere.
It's stuck between trees all the time.
Yeah.
I was so stoked that the horses carried over.
Yeah, they didn't for me, but I that may have been because I didn't register any horses, or maybe
Oh,
because
really?
I played on like master mode.
Oh.
So
I thought you would have registered loads of horses.
I would have thought so too, but it's possible that I was on master mode and it doesn't carry across from different versions of the save.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Did you uninstall it?
I
wonder
don't
if that's
think
a
so.
thing.
It was. I think it's a game card for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I was really impressed that I called my first horse both times dog.
Yeah, that's impressive consistency.
Yeah. I call every horse Roach.
Roach.
So I have like, I don't know, 8 roaches.
I just name them by their color.
If you were going to name a horse roach in Zelda, shouldn't you? You got to find a character that you like/dislike in world and name your horse that.
Mm.
That's the.
That would easily be Addison.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's that?
the sign guy.
Oh god, the son
Yeah.
guy. Oh my god. Oh my
Your
god.
horse's name
Yeah.
is Addison.
Addison.
Yeah. Yep. That bloody sign guy. I'm getting sick of him.
But his rewards are great.
I know. Every time I'm just like, okay, I'm just going from here to there, and there's like, oh, there's a fucking sign guy.
It's funny because Stacy bumped into that dude so many times. And it was ages until I found him because I just kept flying over everything.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yep.
Oh,
He's
man.
just like, what does he think he's
Yeah.
doing?
He's a terrible builder.
Yeah.
But I like that they called him Addison, and he's putting up ads.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's clever.
Oh, is that what
I
the
literally
signs are
didn't
for?
notice his name. I'm terrible with names.
Well, I noticed it because everybody employed by that company has to have "son" as their end of their name,
Yeah.
and so I was looking for clues.
Clever.
There are some shrines. Do you remember on Eventide Island? Why are we talking about Zelda? Sorry.
Because it's
sorry.
Because it's so interesting.
I could easily talk about Zelda for like 4 hours. Okay. I'm gonna do. Do you sound all right?